What's up YouTube? This is Eric Kelly, aka the Tech Gentleman, bringing you guys another video. Today we're going to be taking a look at the ins and outs of DEX and answering some questions about the Tab S4 and the book cover that you guys have been sending me. But before I get started, I want to remind you guys to hit me up on Instagram, Twitter, and Google+. Also, if you got a question, leave it down in the comment section below. I'll make sure to get back to you. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And also, if you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. But without further ado, let's talk tech. All right, guys, so we're going to go ahead and take a look at DEX. Before I get started, I'm going to go ahead and fire it up, man. This video is going to be a little lengthy anyway, so we're going to go ahead and get DEX popping. While that's firing up, I want to give you some of my thoughts on DEX since I've been using it. So this is my first experience with DEX. Even though I have a Note 8, even though I had an S9 Plus, I've never purchased the docks that you've needed or a cable that you've needed to connect DEX. The reason why is because it just wasn't reasonable. And I think that everybody can agree, if you have what you need to make DEX work on a Note 8, which is a dock, a keyboard, a mouse, and another monitor, chances are you got a computer already connected up to that monitor. And this isn't going to be better than that, right? There's no convenience when it comes to that. It's really pointless. But in this form factor right here, it's a game changer. And one of the reasons why is because you get a great windowed environment here with DEX, but it's supported by the app ecosystem of Android. That's always been the downfall of Windows machines. Whenever they try to go into the tablet space, they don't have good tablet apps. You have Android supporting this guy. So when you want to go into just a kind of lean back tablet mode, you have all the Android stuff you can access. But now you can actually go into a productivity mode and actually get some things done with a nice set of tools here. So a couple of the things that I've found you can use and that are pretty useful, they all are enabled by this guy right here, or at least the ones that I have, right? So this is just like a little type C to type A port. This lets you plug in full size USB devices, things like a flash drive for storage, a wireless mouse. You don't even have to get a Bluetooth one. If you got a wireless one, you can just use this guy and plug it up. But also a kind of unique productivity tool. This is a wireless keyboard, but it has a built-in trackpad. So it's a mouse and keyboard in one. It's not too big, but it gives you a fuller, a little bit bigger keyboard space, but also you have a trackpad where you can, do mouse movements as well. That's also wireless. So once you start, kind of customizing your setup, add the pen in there for that fine input or even some graphical stuff, and you get a pretty powerful package. If you ask me, pretty compelling as well. Also, you can just plug in a regular type C to type A cable, plug up a phone or device or something. Maybe you've been shooting some video, you want to transfer that stuff to your tablet, do some editing on a little bit bigger screen while you're out. It makes for a great mobile setup. And like I say, you have the best of both worlds. Right, one example, of course, the default example is going to be, if I'm in here and I want to, work on a Word document. So I have Word, open up something I was actually working on today, something for school. I can work in here, I can type in it. The keyboard is pretty good. It took a little bit of getting used to, but there's enough key travel and enough key separation for where I think that if you use it enough, your muscle memory will kick in and you can actually be pretty quick with this keyboard. Obviously, you can open up another app. So if I wanted to, I'll show you actually my setup I had earlier today where I was watching a movie, getting things done, of course, while watching a movie. Had the movie playing, enjoying everything. And so this right here, this example right here is a perfect segue to the pros and cons. So obviously some of the pros that I have with this device, it's fast, it's lightweight. You don't need external devices, and I'll go into that a little bit later. But also you have the access to Android apps, and you have a great passively charged pen. So this pen is actually powered by the screen. But one of the cons right now is the window management, right? So if I want to resize this window, I have to kind of painstakingly And this is extremely difficult to do from behind the camera, but grab the, one of the corners or the edges of the window so that I can resize it. So I think they need some sort of snap feature or functionality, sort of like what Windows 10 has, where I can just kind of drag this to the left side and it snaps and takes up half the screen, or drag it up top and it maximizes, something like that to make managing windows on this space a little bit easier. Another con, I wish the screen in this mode was a little bit bigger. If they come out with a 12-inch in this, I'm selling my Windows laptop, period. As of right now, it's really tough to argue why you need a Windows laptop. And this right here, where is it at? And I've got my little multitasking kind of wheel down here, but I'll just go up here and go to Chrome. So I've got the Chrome browser, and as you can see, it's a full, web page. No weird kind of, half-baked stuff. Actual full web page. I got my tabs. Everything displays nicely. I got plenty of real estate. And if you're doing anything in a web browser, and as you know, on a computer right now, the web browser is the most critical thing. That's usually what you're using when you get on a computer. It's got it. A nice big screen, like I say, more real estate will just make this even easier. But it's also backed by, it's backed by Google. And just kind of demonstrate the kind of speed you can look for. We'll go to a site that I never go to. Apple.com. So we know, anybody who knows me knows I'm not going here. And look, that's the full site loaded up. Like I say, it's fast, it's lightweight, you're getting the full experience. When you do go on the website, that's going to be 80% of people. When they're using the laptop, this is usually what they're doing. But then if I want to fire up Netflix, and like I say, the other pro about this thing is it's so well fleshed out. I thought it was going to be a gimmick. I thought it was going to be something, basically a tablet manufacturer trying to convince you, right, that it's a computer replacement. Well, they didn't have to tell me anything. I got in here, I started basically doing whatever I wanted to do. And, and that it just started working. Like they had apps that they say, oh, these aren't optimized and all that stuff. And it's like, okay, well, can I still use them? Is there still an option for me to do what I want to do with it? And that's what I'm getting here. And of course, Android is kind of limited. But I mean, it's so smooth. And I've got a theory about this. I've heard some other YouTubers talking about it. But essentially, this is a new OS, right? I've got, and it's hard to see over here. Try to go to like a brighter point in that. But anyway, but this is essentially booting two OSs, right? You've got your Android, which boots up by default. And essentially, you're dual booting into what I think is Tizen OS. It's some other OS other than Android, because it's doing things that Android doesn't let you do. And playing two videos simultaneously, if anybody knows about Android, that's something you can't do in Android. The second you start playing video from another app, it shuts down video in the original one. And so there's a little bit of that kind of handoff going on, but this right here would be impossible if I was just in Android. Also, the way that it's handling apps, it's so much faster and smoother. Like you don't have the same drawbacks. And if anybody's used Tizen, it's pretty slick. It's limited because you don't have the Google Play Store on there, but Tizen as a OS is very smooth. So initially I thought that having only 4 gig of RAM in this guy, storage wouldn't be an issue. It's got a 64 base, but I thought that the RAM was going to be a limitation once you started trying to do things with Windows and all of that stuff. But it's held up surprisingly well, right? They advertise you can open up like 20 different windows or something like that. And I wouldn't, at this point, I wouldn't doubt that they could. Like I have no reason to doubt that they could handle that, because it's been handling everything else so, just so well. Like I say, and this right here is a 4K video that I actually exported on the tablet. And at 4K 30 frames per second, it's exporting at about probably about a 1-to-1 ratio, a minute per minute of video. So a 20-minute video would take about 20 minutes to export, which, you know, isn't the greatest, but if you're out and about and you're trying to edit on the go in this package, I think that's a great compromise. I think that's a great option. So to make sure that I'm kind of hitting I want to hit all the negative points. Not to say that it's bad, but just to make sure that you guys understand, you know, just what I've been experiencing. Like I said, better window management, screen could be bigger. Also, I think this would be a big one, and this would require more RAM. I don't care what anybody says. Full Chrome experience. What I mean by that is you actually get Chrome with extensions, right? You can install your plugins and your extensions and manage Chrome the way you would fully on a desktop. But anybody who's done that knows that once you start adding on all those extensions and plugins to Chrome, Chrome becomes a RAM hog. I've seen Chrome using 3 or 4 gig of RAM by itself. So I know as of right now that's a hardware limitation, but that would be something, I think just something cool in the future to you know, to have and to play with. So now we're going to go ahead and get into some of the kind of not really experimentation, but just letting you guys see some of the options you have. So one of the big ones obviously is going to be using a mouse and keyboard. So if this was Bluetooth, I'd be able to just pair it up and get right to it, but it's not. So we got to do what we got to do. But now, you know, we were worried about all those fine adjustments you have to make. Look at that. Now I've got an actual mouse and I can make a lot of fine adjustments here. It's a lot easier to do. You know, even from behind the camera, which is definitely a handicap. But I mean, you have full mouse control. I mean, once you put a mouse on this guy, like I say, just how smooth it is, you are getting, I don't know what to say, man. I'm just so blown away by how well this mode actually works, man. How functional and usable it is. Like I normally don't touch my laptop when I'm at home because I have my desktop, but just going through and looking at this stuff, and the fact that I have Android apps at my disposal as well. That's the kicker. Like if this is a Windows experience, that in itself would be good just from the fluidity of it, but having the Android apps at your disposal is awesome. It really is. So that's one option. But if you don't have the keyboard, or the keyboard case anyway, you actually have another option. So I'm going to go ahead and take the keyboard case off. And of course, from behind the camera, go ahead and take this guy out of the case. Boom. So now this is how you're going to get it out the box. You're like, oh man, what am I going to do? I want to enjoy some of this extra productivity, but I don't have the keyboard case because the keyboard case is 150 ohms. It's not cheap. But I do have a wireless keyboard and mouse. What about me? All right. I want some of that productivity action too. And like I say, with an option like this, scoot this guy back just a little bit. This right here is actually a pretty slick option. Like I say, you've got full mouse control. I've got a keyboard with native, you know, and also there are, so if I go into the settings and I've got, you know, full gesture control on the touchpad here, and I go into the settings, if I can find them, where are they at? Oh, okay, the last one here. Go into the settings, and I believe it's under here, but under your keyboard settings, they actually give you a full list of keyboard shortcuts. Where are you at? It's around here somewhere. Anyway, there's a full list of keyboard shortcuts because I can do Alt-Tab to switch between apps. Of course, hit the Windows key to go, basically to bring up my search bar. On here, the keyboard is weird. Got to do function to access some certain stuff, but it's the more you get into this, I feel like regardless of your setup, you can come up with some sort of workflow that works for you. All right, so that's the second kind of setup there. And what I'll do now is I actually go, and since we don't have that plugged up anymore, get out the way. Now I'm going to go ahead and plug up my phone because, you know, I can. I want to go. I got a Type-C cable. So I plug up my Note 8 and immediately, there's no weirdness, you ain't got to download no apps. Immediately ask me what I want to do. So I'm going to go to the gallery and my Samsung Android pops up. Just got to allow. And now I get to look at all the stuff that is on my phone. So got my little baby right there. Me and my baby and bae, two different people. But now I can, you know, I can do whatever I want now, right? If I want to, you know, if I want to share this, I mean, the options and just how smooth and quickly that worked, the options are limitless, man. They really are. If you're out and about, you need something that's mobile, this is it. All right. So enough, I guess, raving about this guy. I want to go ahead and start getting into some of these questions and answers. So these are all questions that people have asked me on different videos that I've done. Let's see. All right, so the first one is, can it run Chrome extensions? And this is asked by P-A-O-P-Y. Sorry if I mispronounced that. But the answer is no. It's running still Android Chrome, so you can't run full Chrome extensions on it. Like I said, that would be cool. That would be, you know, icing on the cake, and a dagger and some other devices, Surface. Anyway, the second one is, are the speakers muffled by the case? This is asked by TDoom24. I haven't had any issues with it in the case. Speakers sound great. The case actually has openings on all four sides. So if you can see, two for speakers on that side, and of course this, and maybe that's what they're talking about. I don't know if they're using it closed, which wouldn't make any sense, but you've got two on that side as well. So I don't know where the muffling would come from. The speaker cutouts are legit on there. They fit perfectly. So that is a no. The third question is, can we use a third-party Bluetooth keyboard with this? This is asked by Derek Espinosa. The answer is yes. Bluetooth keyboard, Bluetooth mouse, you can plug those up. Of course, Bluetooth headphones. You can plug all those guys up. So the next question, our next two questions, is asked by Julie Egan. Do I have to have the keyboard, and do I have to use the S Pen? The answer is no and no. So obviously this is DEX just with the tablet by itself. You don't have to have the keyboard case. You don't even have to have a keyboard. You can use this with or without a mouse. You can use it just with the on-screen keyboard and S Pen. So if I go, see, to a search field, you know, I still get the option of having a full screen keyboard. I can go ahead and type, or I could do voice dictation, which is probably going to be more effective in this kind of setup if you have the privacy to do it. You know, if you're in Starbucks, you don't want to be hollering at your tablet, but you got a couple of different options. See, so the next question is, can you hold the keyboard under without exposing the keys? This is asked by Kip Kowalski. So what I think he's asking is, when you have the tablet in the keyboard case, basically what is it like when you fold the keyboard back, or what are your options? So if I'm not using the keyboard, I have the option to fold it back like this. The keys are exposed, but because the only way to connect it is through these pogo pins, there's going to be no interference with your actual screen if you press keys. Like, there's no action going on there. So I think that's pretty smart. If they would have used a wireless protocol, there would have been connection issues at some point. I don't care what anybody says, there would have been issues. Bluetooth is not the end all be all. It has problems. I guess another way, and something I find myself doing, if I have my keyboard out, sometimes I just kind of accordion style it like this right here. That works pretty good as well for me. And it allows me to kind of lay it flat and not, be cumbered or be, inhibited by the keyboard. If I want to do some drawing or whatever, without having to take the tablet out of the keyboard case or do the whole folding it back kind of deal and dealing with the weirdness, the weirdness of that. So that's a pretty good question. Go ahead and set that guy back up. Let's see what else. So the next one is, does it have a notification light? That's asked by Brothers in Arms 3. The answer is no, there's no notification light on this guy. So JKB 2400 asked me, how's the battery life? The battery life on this guy has been pretty impressive. I've been coming from the Tab S3. Before that I had a Tab S2. Before that I had the Nexus 7 2013. Battery life on those guys, especially standby time, was terrible. Compared to especially iPads and things like that, it was terrible. There's no way around that. I've got a couple of shots of some battery life specs, or just some battery life that I was experiencing. So this right here was screen on time. I know everybody wants to see this. I was at 36%. And I had used it for 6 hours and 9 minutes. So tracking, battery life like this, I was tracking about 9 hours of screen on time, which isn't bad at all. But as you can see, where are we at? So this was over 2 days. So that same day, 36%, says 15 hours of YouTube. Some of that was with the screen off. Actually, a significant amount of that was the screen off. I was streaming some live streams and podcasts, stuff like that. 4 hours of Netflix, 4 hours, 16 minutes of Netflix. That was screen on, definitely. Netflix is not playing unless the screen is on. And if I would have thought, I would have done one of the little scroll captures to get you guys the rest of the information. But as you can see, full charge 2 days ago, no other charges in between. 18 hours of estimated battery life left at 36%. It's definitely possible. The standby time is great. As you can see, when I wasn't using the tablet, it was like barely moving. This is another day. I ran it pretty hard this day. This is 11:24 p.m. 17 hours off the charge. I did an actual live stream with this guy as well. 4 hours and 10 minutes on YouTube, and I got 8 hours of screen on time. Like I said, that was actually doing a live stream with, for over an hour with Bluetooth going, Wi-Fi going, screen going, camera going. I put it through its paces this day. So if you're using this like a regular human being, maybe you're just watching some videos, you can easily, I can see this lasting for easily, 11, 12 hours of screen on time, if you aren't doing anything too strenuous, and I've been playing games. I got a, crap load of games installed on here. Look at me trying to use a screenshot. Like I said, I got a crap load of games installed on here just for testing Mortal Kombat 5, Need for Speed No Limits, The Room, Old Sins, Only One, Overdrive, Pierce Cruise, and I've played and tested all these games. Train Crashers, Tabletop Racing, just trying to put it through its paces. Grand Theft Auto. Like I said, I've been trying to test this guy out just to see how well it works. And you can play games, so I'll go ahead and fire one up in case somebody has a question about one. But you can play games in this mode. Of course, Android is kind of wonky about controller support. That would be icing on the cake if they could work that out. But you can play games in this mode, and I haven't had an issue with any of them working. It's just weird to kind of use the touch screens in a little window. Eventually, you're just going to maximize it anyway, so you might as well kick out to Android and use it in this native environment. Well, let's try to wrap up these questions. The next one is there an always on display? This is from, looks like Derby's Young Online or something like that. The answer is no, there's no always on display on the Tab S4. And the last one is, does Google Docs work with DEX? This is from Pas de Sudo. So Google Docs does work with DEX. I've actually got Google Docs installed. So if I go, where you at? Look at that. Let's go to Docs. So I have Docs installed. I go ahead and maximize it. Go ahead and bring up a document. I can maximize that. And if I want, I can edit it. 33. Now I'm 103. Go through, you know, this is a basic document. There's nothing too crazy going on. It's just some, you know, font and formatting. Handles that, you know, perfectly. Close it out. Of course, Google Docs automatically saves, but it works great. Like I said, I haven't found really something that it can't do. There are definitely things that you're limited to with the screen size, but as far as capability, man, I've been impressed. I mean, I make my thumbnails on here using Adobe Spark, and of course there's some other Adobe things you can do. So just kind of playing around with this right here. Like I said, Adobe Spark. Maybe want to switch to this setup. Get it looking a little bit better. Yeah, there we go. See, I'm done there. And maybe we want to do a little bit different color palette. Go for this guy right here, something a little bit darker. Kind of switch it up a little bit. There we go. Change my design. Maybe I just decide after doing all that work, I don't like it at all. And I want to switch to a totally different design there. Boom, I'm done. See what kind of effects we got. And I mean, I don't know what to say, man. As of right now, I don't have a need for my laptop. Like I say, a bigger screen would make this perfect. Because I don't even need Chrome extensions like that, because they're just such a resource hog. But man, this video has been absurdly long. So I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. If you guys have any more questions, definitely leave them in the comment section of this video. Hopefully some of the things I showed you here help you wrap your mind around using DEX and what it's like and what it's capable of. Until next time, guys, I'll talk to you. Peace.